88.5 FM. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your brother from another mother like no other. Brother John is in the building. And today is Friday, so I hope everybody had a great week. And I want to also say a shout out to all our students that's been out here putting in work, all our teachers, all our parents that's been parenting, our teachers that's teaching. I want to make sure I shout out everybody because I want to give everybody props. This is the second week of school. It has been completed, so 10 days in, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! We've been humping since the first day, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to our superintendent, Dr. Marie Fagans. Also, shout out to our board members. Shout out to our senior leaders. Shout out to everybody making sure these first 10 days has been a success. Yes, we know we had some little hiccups here and there. I know about the AC, ladies and gentlemen. We had a little situation, security, safety and security. We got that handled. Had our jamborees taking place tonight and last night. And I think middle school is tomorrow. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all patience for rocking with Memphis Shelby County Schools. So today, I met this sister some years ago. First, she was this not her first day here. She's been here before, but we connected over the weekend, and she got something called Black Therapists Matter. And you know that hit me because I think we should be talking about mental health more than Mental Health Month, right? So I'm glad you're here. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and get right into it. So let everybody know who you are. Give them a little background about you, and we'll get right into
it. So my name is Pametria Brown. I am a Memphis born and bred, Black Haven to be exact. Proud graduate of the Whitehaven High School. Okay.
Yeah. Wait. The only black HBCU high school in America.
Period. Okay.
Continue, carry on, class of 1989. But I ain't going to say that.
Okay. So, I am a mental health therapist. I am a community leader. I take pride in connecting my community with resources, right? We are underserved in that resource of mental health. And so that is something that I do through events, through workshops, through one-to-one therapy, as well as now expanding that reach by connecting people with other therapists across the country.
Okay. All right. So now this collectiveness, some people think mental health is just one thing, but we know it can be a plethora of different avenues.
Absolutely.
Right? But finding that right fit, like if I'm going through something, I might not want to talk to a woman, or I might not want to talk to a man, or I might want to talk to somebody that's going to handle me right, because when we start talking, the slightest little flinch or frown or grin, we shut down.
You turned off. Mm-hmm.
So it seemed like something like what you all are doing when you say Black Therapists Matter. It seemed like y'all taking stuff like that into consideration. Am I kind of a little bit correct on the assumption to a point?
So let me say it's not so the directory is basically like think the phone book but on the internet, right?
Okay.
So I'm not responsible or liable for these therapists. I am a haven or a hub for people who are looking for therapists. So if you are looking for a Black therapist anywhere in the country, you can go to the website and search for someone who is a good fit for you.
Okay.
Now, once you come to the website, then I'm going to take you a step further by challenging you to think about what type of therapist you want. So like the things you mentioned about if you prefer a woman, if you prefer someone of the same age, if you prefer someone who has a little bit more experience versus someone who is, fresh out and they maybe can bring a fresh new perspective for you, right? So I'm going to present a questionnaire when you go to the website before you get to the pictures and be like, oh, she fly. She looked like my auntie. I like her.
Right.
No. What type of person do you think you would connect with, especially for my people who have experienced therapy before and maybe had negative experiences already? So you're already coming in with maybe a preconceived notion about, therapy doesn't work for me. Or you're coming in and you already have a list of, I've had 3 therapists before. I know what I don't want. So it's easier for you to come in and say, okay, I already know I don't like people who are too direct, or I don't like people who are doing body work, right, in therapy. I had somebody recently come to me and they were like, my therapist was talking about breathe. I know how to breathe. And I'm like, well, so if you're not into doing like the somatic work, then that person may not be a good fit for you. So shopping around, like we shop for our shoes and our clothes, like ladies, we take our time for those things. So taking the time to shop and find a good fit for you.
Got you. And now how many years you been doing this?
We started on Juneteenth.
What?
Juneteenth.
Oh, that's the birthday?
That's the birthday. Juneteenth, because we extra black, okay? Juneteenth 2024.
So how has the response been?
Amazing. It's been amazing. We started on Juneteenth, so are we even at the 19th? No, we're not even 2 full months. I already have about 200 therapists in every state except for Hawaii. Black therapists in Hawaii, holla at me. That's the only state that we don't have covered, but every other state in the U.S. we have representation.
Okay, now what about, we are we are the largest school district in the state of Tennessee.
Okay.
So do y'all offer help for the young people too, or is this strictly for adults for the use of the director?
So again, everybody that is on here operates in their own individual practice,
okay,
right?
Gotcha.
So there are therapists on here who specialize in working with children. There are therapists on here who don't want to see nan child, right? So finding not nan child, right? So as a therapist, you get to say who you feel comfortable, who you think you work better with. Right. And I think as you become more experienced in your field, you begin to say, okay, this population I enjoy working with more and they respond to me better, right? So for me, teenage girls, give me your sassy, bad attitude, roll her neck black girl. That's me. I love that, right? As well as black women who are struggling with anxiety and depression. That's my jam. So somebody else may only want to work with men, or feel that that is their strength, their strength. So there are therapists on there who specialize in everything.
Wow. So this is something that's if marketed and promoted right, this could be a resource for the whole community
for everybody.
Because
everybody.
It seems like for everybody. Don't get me wrong. We're not just saying we only listen to black people, but the thing is, we need help. And we need to get the word out. How's the social media and everything? If a person has a question, is it a certain procedure once they connect with you, and do you get in the weeds with them, or you just try to get them and say, oh, you need to talk this direction or you need to go that direction?
So social media, like I said, we just jumping off the porch. Social media, specifically Instagram, has really been our bread and butter with pushing it. I started this Instagram page to promote Black therapists years ago, but I didn't have the foresight at that time that this was what I was going to do with it, right? This was with the directory. So that was birthed later. So initially it was an Instagram page where I shot it out and highlighted Black therapists across the country. Just from me being in this space and the type of work that I do and traveling and speaking at other mental health events, I have met a lot of therapists across the country. And so if I'm not a good fit for someone, I started writing down other therapists. Hey, do you taking new clients? All right. So I write down a resource book. Most therapists have a referral list. So they would just kind of keep their referral list. And sometimes it may be like you just have your 5 people that you refer. But as I started to travel more, I collected people from across the country. And so through the Instagram page, I began to build a stronger network for referring people. And because I had this Instagram page at the time, it probably grew to about 9,000 followers before I launched.
Really?
And so
you already had that? Really
I already had that, but I didn't have clear direction on what I was doing with the page other than shouting out Black therapists. That was the premise of the Black Therapists Matter Instagram page. But once I decided where we were going, very intentional with the marketing on the Instagram page. And so a great deal of our therapists, as well as the people who have contacted them, like looking for a therapist, it's us being in the comments, we in the shade room, we meeting the people where they at, right? And so somebody else might be like, well, why would a therapist be in the shade room? Because people are in the shade room, right?
I'm where the people at,
right? And so our directory is not just about promoting the therapist. It's about building a community around those therapists and kind of helping them learn how to market themselves. A lot of therapists don't know how to do public speaking. A lot of therapists don't know how to really put themselves out there. I'm a published. They just do the therapy. You know, you got some therapists who are very introverted. I'm not one of them girls, right? So it's a membership that they can join and be able to have their platform promoted and pushed as well under ours. So we're at about 14,000 on Instagram. Just you know, from us launching, it's grown tremendously. People in our comments, people are in our inbox. Hey, I live in Cincinnati. I need a therapist. And even though the link is in the bio, you know your cousins, they gonna still ask the questions. How can I find them? Yes. So we respond and we say, hey, what state are you in? Just to engage them. Oh, I'm here. Okay, great. We got about 10 therapists that are in that state, right? So, and then they say, okay, and I send them the link directly because you know we don't want to do too much work. Okay. So you have to kind of make it easy, especially for something as complicated as going to therapy and removing all your barriers and being vulnerable and basically naked with a stranger. So you have to really feel comfortable. So I think for us, it starts with our engagement with them on social media or when they call the phone or send an email, because people are at their most vulnerable state saying, I need help.
Oh,
yeah, so, you know.
Look, before I open my mouth, I might throw a couple of tests at you just to see, because you know how it is. Once you get to talking, and if it's revolved around pain or stuff that hurt you as from a child, you want to be handled right.
Absolutely.
And that's why I'm glad you said, this directory, you can look through and do your own homework and research on all the therapists that are on the directory, correct?
Right, that are in your state. Let me clarify that too, because a lot of people, especially after COVID, there was an influx of virtual sessions, virtual therapy, right? Because we was inside. Right. So a lot of people have the misconception that, well, if it's virtual, it doesn't matter where you're located. And that's not true, right? If you have a licensed professional, we have parameters that we are supposed to follow, right? And all of our licenses, there are provisions of where you can practice. And so if that person is not licensed in your state, although it's virtual, they still can only practice within the state that they're licensed. So when people that's one of the big things, why does it matter if I want virtual therapy? If you in Tennessee, I don't care. I'm in Georgia. I'm not going to lose my license for you, girl.
Right.
So but I will refer you. I will refer you. Yes.
That, because we think, look, whoever can help me, look, I don't care.
Whoever it is, they don't care.
Get with me.
They don't care. Now, if it's somebody who is maybe a life coach or something like that, then they don't have those guidelines. They don't have a governing body for their practice.
So should we be checking for that? Because
we don't have life coaches. Well, so correction. Somebody may be a therapist and a life coach that's on my website, but we're not promoting life coaches on the website specifically, right? So everybody that is on the website is either a pre-licensed or a licensed therapist.
Gotcha. So, ladies and gentlemen, do your research on folks. Know what you're looking for and asking for. And so let's talk about this entrepreneurship. Because I want it to be you're like an example for some of our young people. Again, okay. This is a school district, and I want to put people on that the young people can see themselves doing. What's some of the qualities you got to have to do something like this? Because, like you said, you're not an introvert. You're like, yo, I'm out here. I'm out here. I'm trying to get it popping, but it might be some people that may not have that same, type of get out and go spirit, but this may be something they be interested in. What would be some of the qualities and characteristics of somebody to do something like this?
So a lot of people ask, how can I become a therapist, right? And so that's being a therapist doesn't necessarily mean you are an entrepreneur, because you can be a therapist working in someone else's practice. You can be a therapist working for the school system. You can be a therapist at the hospital. So that doesn't mean that you have to be an entrepreneur. I feel like a lot of people, especially with social media, jump out here with entrepreneurship and they feel like this is the glamorous life, right? And I can make all of this money because I don't work for anyone else. Right. Or they feel like because they don't do well on jobs, that entrepreneurship is the avenue for them. And absolutely not. Because you go from having to serve a select amount of people that you have to please at your job versus everybody as an entrepreneur. Customer service is across the board. So having off the top, it doesn't matter. So having a negative attitude doesn't fly in entrepreneurship. That's why everybody's getting put on blast, on social media, because you still have to know how to treat people. So I think one of my strongest assets is my ability to engage people and meet them where they are. So before I ever decided to be an entrepreneur, I had a natural hustle. I was in the 3rd grade selling kernels of popcorn. Okay. So there was some hustling, like, like not the bag selling, like back when they had the flavors, the different color popcorn in a assorted bag, selling kernels for 25 cents to my classmates. Right. So hustle is something that I feel like sometimes it's a natural instinct and sometimes it can be taught. I happen to be a person where it was in me. And I also witnessed that through my mother as an entrepreneur. So if you are interested in that entrepreneur journey, I think that you have to understand your why. What is the real motivation? What are you just feeling like this is just for money? Because the money ain't going to be there automatically. Right. And it's definitely not going to be there in the beginning. Right. So if when you get down to, I still got to pay these bills, there is no steady check coming in and my bills getting paid depends on me grinding. Then you start to question, why am I doing this? Right. Why am I doing this? So if your why is not more than money, you're not going to be successful in it. Right. It needs to be some passion behind what it is that you are doing. It needs to be some drive behind it. And so me, I have always been a passion driven person. The money, please, yes, I want it, but I have to be connected to what I'm doing. And that is what pushes me when those days get hard, when, the clients aren't there, when you run through those seasons. Hello, because business has seasons.
Come on with it.
So when you run through those low seasons and you start to question, why am I doing this? Why don't I just go get a job? Right. You have to really dig deep and understand the reason why you started this. Wow. So that's it.
Come on, young people. You see what she just dropped on y'all. And I'm glad you said that because I recently did a video. I was compelled to do a video where I said, chase the work and not the titles. Okay,
I like
that.
And
how you just said, it's like if you don't work, you don't eat. So to say, I don't want to be blunt like that, but if you out in here and you out here working, and you putting in that time, the money and all the other stuff, it'll come. But if you don't do the work, engaging and calling and checking, following up, you not gonna have nothing.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I was telling people. It's like some people get caught up in the titles and not, I got to put this work in and then the title will come, then the money will come, then the relationships will come. But it's like we get so caught up in just, okay, I just want to be known as a therapist. But you ain't talked to nobody. You haven't put, as they say, get it from the mud or put your time in. And I think where our young people, we want it so fast.
Instant gratification. For everything.
I never seen that. It's like, ain't nothing instant. You got to put in that work. So how was it for you when you was through that putting in work stage like you are now, but you already had a foothold because you had over 9,000 people, following you. What were some of the things that you saw that worked for you? And I don't want to say you ain't got to give us the secrets, but
it's no sauce that could be given because they could listen here. They could never. When you operating in your authentic self, it can't be duplicated, right? It can't be duplicated. And so for me, I am a person who has consistently done authentic out the box things, right? I have been, I've created events. I've done things where most of the time when I started, I have to explain what it is because people are like, well, what you mean? Right. What? So it's a pageant. Like when I was doing natural hair shows and when I was doing pageants and things like that, like people are like, so is it a fashion show? No, it's all of the above, So like I don't mimic what other people do. I operate off of my own creativity. And so when you are really in your bag of like, okay, this is what I do. Like I happen to be a very creative person. I have good ideas. And one of my strongest things is that I'm going to jump off the porch. I'm not a person that's going to sit on it for a long time. I'm going to jump off the porch. When that idea comes, you'll never catch me saying, oh, I had that idea 10 years ago and somebody else didn't. No, because I already jumped off the porch. I already got it started when I have the passion for it. I'm going to create. When I created that Black Therapist Matter Instagram page, I didn't know what that was going to be. But I had the idea and I saw that page was available and I was like, you know what? I'm a therapist. Black Therapist Matter. Boom. I got that page long before I even knew what God had in store for it.
Really?
So I had the page for years. I didn't know what it was. But now that I have clear direction and I listen to, I listen to myself. I listen to the Creator on what it is that's for me. it's been taken off. It's been taken
when
off.
When you did it and you got Black Therapists Matter, what was it that made you go that route at that particular time? Was it just a aha moment, or you just something just said?
I think listening to Spirit. And so, like, not only did I get the Instagram page, like, I bought the domain. You know, like, I'm quick to buy the domain. If I have an idea and I'm like, oh, I might want to use this later, I'll see if the domain is open. And if I didn't get it, guess what? Somebody else gonna get it.
Oh, somebody else gonna get it.
And then if they get it, then you don't pay for it, you're gonna lose it, and somebody gonna sell it. So I had to not only get the domain, but I had to upkeep the domain and pay for it without even knowing what I was doing with that site yet, without even having clear vision on the website. Didn't even have the website built, but I had the domain.
Wow. That's big.
I had the domain because I listened to the Spirit, like, this is what I'm doing. And so a lot of times we feel like it has to be instant. I am a person where my path, even becoming a therapist, my path was not clear. It was not traditional. It was very unorthodox, right? And so I always tell people, like, my path has been very Spirit-led. And so if you only feel like it's got to be ... and you get so distracted when it doesn't go that way and you lose yourself because the plan doesn't seem to be, take a moment and step back and listen to yourself and restructure that plan, right? Because that setback may be a setup for something better.
Listen, young people.
It might be something better. Like, I couldn't have envisioned the things that I'm doing. That was not a part of my plan. I didn't even plan on being a therapist.
Because we were talking about hair last time. Or
what was it? So I had the Natural Cuties, right? Yes, and so that was my first brand. That was my first brand. And it was celebrating Black women and girls rocking their natural hair, right? Back when I had hair, like, I ain't even got no hair, but I'm like, oh, they like, I have a children's book around that, everything. So, like, me becoming an author, all of those things were not something I envisioned. It was Spirit-led, right? And so listening and trusting yourself is huge.
Yep. Young people, y'all taking notes. Okay, yes, the adults, we want y'all to take notes too. But young people, she is the example that you can become if you listening to the gems that she said. Now, she said you're not gonna have the sauce that she got, but you can be in a position like this young woman is right now before us. And I want to shout out Miss Middleton. She says, tell the young lady to keep up the good work. I try to talk to young kids in the neighborhood. That's the start. I don't want. I mean, that's like a form of therapy, because some people, they see something going on, and some people in our neighborhood. Now, you know you shouldn't be doing that.
Absolutely.
Now, you know, gotta tell your mama and all that. But if you got a question or you got a comment, hit us up 901-881-0885. You can text us, and we can we got the screen up so we can read all the texts right here live and direct. 901-881-0885. Now, we're not doing a therapy session over there.
Absolutely not.
But if you send us a message, we can get to you and point you into the right direction.
Or if they're looking for a therapist, like I got my website pulled up. I can try to match you with somebody.
She ready for you, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you, Miss Middleton, for talking to the young people. And don't say that you try to talk. If you're talking to them, you are doing the work. Try means make an attempt. You done surpassed that. You're talking to those young people, and I'll advise you to keep it up. But be careful, because also I want to ask you this, Ms. Brown. Sometimes when we talk to young people, we talk at them, or we make them feel like they're a problem, instead of like, yo, I might need to ask how you doing today, because you pull your pants up. It's like our children and our youth deal with that all the time. It seems like we might need to choose the words how we talk to our children or our young people, because words matter too.
Absolutely. So I said my biggest superpower is engagement, right? And I told you I love working with sassy attitude Black girls, right? I have a specialty area in like my preferred population, and like this is my jam, but I can connect with any population, right? Okay. And so being able to listen and engage people is literally, that is the key to being a great therapist. It's like being able to engage. One of the most important factors when we talk about age, race, gender, specialty, all of those things, nothing matters if you don't feel connected with your therapist. It doesn't matter how much experience they have, how many degrees on the wall, certifications, none of that matters if when you come in there, you not feeling their energy. you're not going to return. And so the biggest factor in
When you say
successful
return,
to the
explain it.
session, you're not gonna come back.
Okay, gotcha,
You ain't
gotcha,
gonna come back if you're not, you don't like them, right? So personality is actually way more important than we even think. So I encourage people to do the free consultation. Do the free 15-minute consultation with a therapist. If they say they don't do free consultation, send them an email. Ask them some questions before you invest any
that's
time,
cool.
energy,
That's
or
cool
money.
to ask the question
Absolutely.
like that 'cause, you know-
Absolutely. And if they don't, then it's probably not the therapist for you. If they have an
Bingo.
issue responding to you asking how do they conduct therapy sessions, what type of, what do they specialize in? If a person has an issue answering those things, that's probably not a good fit for you. Because you already don't feel safe in trusting them to even answer your anxiety that you have about going to see a new therapist. That's hard.
Right.
So I'm supposed to make you feel comfortable. And if I can't create that relationship from the door, it's very hard to build it on the back end.
Gotcha.
And that's why most people don't stay in therapy. Because they didn't like something the therapist did rub them the wrong way, or
So I
they
told
didn't
you,
like
I said
it.
in the beginning. I
They
said,
didn't like
we
it.
watching anything, any little thing, because when we getting ready to spill the tea or spill ourselves to people, if you laugh or crack a smile, you think this funny? Like,
Right.
We think like that. We already vulnerable. So it's like, I'm glad that you shared that part, because for me, it takes a while for me to open up to anybody, because I'm like, yo, why you here? You're like, you talking to me for what? Because it's hard building trust, especially as a black man. It's like, Lord have mercy, we got to watch everything we say anyway.
Especially if that's why a person is coming to therapy, right? If I have years of unprocessed trauma and I feel that everybody is out to get me, and then I come to this place to feel safe, and now I don't feel comfortable with you, then so like I already have my guards up just by entering into this environment. So before we get into the formalities of all of that, like, hey, how you doing? How did you find out about me? Okay, so I'm very much a hey girl, hey type of therapist, right?
Gotcha.
And so I let people know you might want someone who is more formal, more buttoned up, all of that. Like what you see, this is how I act all the time. I'm loud.
This ain't no front, this me.
Somebody just said like talking about me being loud. I'm loud. I just saw, what was it, a meme of Jennifer blankety Lewis, and they was like, you act like this every day.
Every day. I tell
Every
you,
day.
yes. Wake me up 2:00 in the morning. You gonna get this same John that you see right now. Ain't no I put it on or put it off. This me. This is who I am.
Absolutely.
So I can appreciate that. So how far are you willing to take this thing? How far are you willing to take
the moon.
Black Therapists
To the
Matter?
moon. We are, so I'll say Psychology Today. Now, let me also be clear that there are websites where you can go and find a therapist, as well as there are specifically like inclusive directories as well. So Psychology Today is a general place where you can go and find any type of therapist. Most therapists have a Psychology Today profile because it is the biggest hub for finding a therapist, right? Some people of color find it difficult to get seen on there. They feel that maybe you got to search a whole lot, or you got to really use the magnifying glass to find the black folks when you're on those websites. We're on Psychology Today specifically, but that is the largest place, psychologytoday.com. So then I would say with the specific websites, Therapy for Black Girls is a really great resource. It's a directory, and they also have a podcast and a lot of resources for people, like groups and stuff that people can participate in, that is for finding a black woman therapist. Taraji P. Henson has a foundation that she has in honor of her father, the Boris L. Henson Foundation, and they have a small directory on there as well. With what I'm doing, it is a little bit different. One, because it's not specific to gender, so it's just for black people, but not specific to male or female. But also, it is more of a resource and community for the therapist.
Gotcha.
So yes, the people can come and join and look for a therapist, but some of the offerings that we have are really about helping other therapists nurture their skill set in terms of marketing themselves and providing them with a platform that they may not have in some of the other spaces. And we got the best rates too, so period.
Watch out now. Ms. Middleton said, that's what I do. You have to be on their level. That's what I do. They talk to me before they talk to their parents.
Absolutely.
Wow,
Let
so
trust,
that's trust, right?
Engagement.
That's like, I feel safe to talk to you. So if the way you handle me, I may tell you more, but if I'm coming to you, please, Miss Middleton, don't mess up that opportunity. Make sure you can always be that person for that woman, that child. Also, we got here. Somebody said, "Hi, good afternoon, brother John. One of my DJ, let me see, my favorite radio station. I'm just getting on. Could you ask Miss Middleton yourself, deal me in? I have 12 girl, and I want to reach out to ask questions for her.
Oh, I
I
think she
love."
think my name is Middleton.
Oh, okay, okay. So Miss Middleton is somebody that has been sending us a text message. So Hosanna, can you clarify your question? You said you have a 12-year-old girl, or you have 12 girls and you want to reach out. Can you clarify that for me? I appreciate that. And so Miss Middleton says
She the hood
she
grandmama.
the hood grandmama. Okay. Okay, they said they have a 12-year-old girl.
Okay.
And you want to reach out, so you send them to the website. If
Okay, yeah. So so for me personally, I am a therapist. My practice is called RBG, Representing Brown Girls Mental Health and Wellness, right? And so I see everybody, but I specialize in working with black girls as well as black women. I am private pay. And so that's another topic that I know a lot of people have questions about too, with like therapists not taking certain insurances. But I'm private pay currently. On the directory, if you're in Tennessee or Memphis, there are probably about 50 therapists in Tennessee currently. And so if she wants to go there, if she wants somebody specifically for her insurance, if she knows that that's a factor and she's not going to pay out-of-pocket expenses, that's completely understandable. So you might want to look on the website blacktherapistmatter.org, and you would type in Tennessee under directory, and then you can go through and filter for what you're looking for, right? So some you might want in-person sessions. Some of the people may only do virtual. So thinking about what's important for you. If the finances is the priority, then you want to start with who accepts your insurance, and then filter down from that. But if that's not important, and maybe specialty is more important, maybe your child has an eating disorder or specific type of trauma, right? You know, so you want someone who specializes in that. So think about, with the questionnaire that's on there, it's asking you to prioritize what matters most to you in finding a therapist.
Got you. And also, if your child is part of Memphis Shelby County Schools, you can also ask your teacher, your professional school counselor. I hope I said that right, because they're going away from guidance counselors.
Yes, they've
so
changed it.
Professional school counselors, you can ask your counselor at school about Memphis Shelby County Schools mental health clinic. So you got some resources. We just shared one with you. Got one here if your child is part of the school system. So I appreciate that. She said that's my granddaughter, and I can use all and any help. Thank you so much. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, we're not giving any therapy over the airways, but we're giving you the information for where you can go to get it, whether it's insurance, out of pocket, if you're in the school system. I'm glad that we're able to have this kind of discussion so that people can see, it's okay to look if you need to get help, or you want to talk to somebody, because we need to talk to somebody. And I think we're doing a disservice in our community because we're not talking.
We're not talking about it. And it's become so like faux pas to talk about it. One of my things, like I said, meeting people where they are. During the month of May or September, or really anytime if I'm feeling it, I will be at an event and decide to create content just asking people questions like, hey, if your friend was feeling suicidal, what would you do? Right. And so just bringing it, like, I could be on a rooftop party and having this conversation. Was mental health talked about in your household? Right. So just normalizing the conversation helps to break this stigma down, because a lot of times, like I said, we in the Shade Room comments, we in Essence comments, we out here. And so people are like, oh, well, you talking about that? Yeah. Like, this is a normal part of life. Just like you would talk about going to the doctor. Going to the doctor, going to the dentist, this is a normal part of life. And I know recently somebody asked me about overdiagnosis, and if therapy, not overhyped, but if we are putting too much emphasis on therapy right now, right? And so my response to that is, when you look at the numbers, of increased suicide rates, even just since the pandemic, right? The increase of anxiety, the increase of like COVID, the pandemic brought so much to the forefront because you didn't have those distractions.
Right.
You had to sit at home with your partner and realize, dog, I really don't even like this person. You know, you couldn't have the outside distractions, and so you were forced to either strengthen your relationship or dismantle it, because it's like, this isn't working, right? Relationships with your family, relationships with your friends, all of those things were exposed, as well as your relationship with just sitting with yourself.
Right.
Because you couldn't go to the club, you couldn't go out to eat, you couldn't do those things. So those thoughts got real loud.
Oh yeah,
and loud. So it's not overhyped, and it's not a thing where we like feel like, oh, everybody got to be in therapy all the time. But it's also okay to go and have check-ins. That don't mean you got to go to therapy every single week. But just like you do a check-in with your PCP, you know, just for a check-in, you maybe once every 3 months. I have some clients that I see once every 3 months just for follow-up, because we have maybe stepped down to that level, but they may have started on an every week basis. But as they strengthen their skills, because it's never my goal to keep somebody in therapy for a long period of time, especially at the same duration.
Thank you for saying that.
No, right? So you can still be in therapy. I think it was it Gabrielle Union? One of the black women, I can't recall right now which one it was talking. Carrie Washington. Carrie Washington was talking about, she's been in therapy for years, right? And so a lot of people are like, well, are you getting better? Because why you been in therapy for years? And she says, I consider it a luxury. This is not something that I have to do. This is something that I choose to do for myself. Wow. And this is something that I need. Just like I go to the spa, I want to have this outlet for myself regularly. Now, for me, I want my clients to progress and grow to where they're not dependent on me, because that can be a thing where, you know, you get comfortable with your therapist, and now it's like, oh, you're good because you come in here every week. And I'm glad that I can fill your cup up, but what are you doing outside? Are you applying the skill set? Are you doing the homework? Are you doing these things and putting them in real time so that you are strengthening your own toolbox and you are needing me less and less? So my objective is to put myself out of a job.
I got you. See, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, hit us up, 901-881-0885. You don't even got to call. You can just send us a text. If you got a question, we'll point you in the right direction. And somebody said, my son suffers from mental health issues. I saw the sewing scenes.
So maybe the signs.
I saw the signs.
She saw some of the signs.
Right. So, ma'am, listen, go ahead, Ms. Middleton. Go ahead and, you know, you got these resources out here. You know, I'm glad we having this conversation, Ms. Brown, because I got tired of, B. Flynn will always say, we need to talk more than during mental health month,
right?
Or these specialty months,
right?
It's like we should be talking about this 12 months out of the year. Mental health has gone from that person or that cousin or that family member that everybody said was special to now it's a lot of people walking around with mental health issues that has not been addressed. So we need to make sure we are looking for ways to get this information out here. We got a caller. Somebody's calling in. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. 88.5. You're on the line with Brother John. Dr. Brown.
Uh-oh, not doctor now.
Oh, Miss Brown. Yes. Call back.
Uh-oh.
My bad, I done jumped out there and called it the doctor.
Ain't no doctor. Listen, I don't want to be false flagging.
We don't want to be false flag. We don't want a false flag. You right. Call back or put your question in the text. But yeah, it's important that we can have these conversations, because I think the more we talk about it and the more some of these people that are so-called influencers talk, I think that will help to, you know, get us out of that. Well, I don't know if I should talk to somebody, because if I tell, I don't want nobody in my business.
Right.
I don't want nobody to know that this happened to me when I was young. And you might not know, some of it's people you walking around and cool with, same thing happened to them when they were little.
Absolutely. One in four people have been sexually violated, right? So
1 in 4?
1 in 4. So like we talk about, oh, they got trauma. Everybody, you know, this is a very common thing. But when we make it so hush-hush, you know, then this makes me feel isolated. And that is how abusers are able to thrive, because you feel like you are alone in this, and that no one is going to, no one is going to understand, not knowing that this is a very common thing, with our children. One of the things that I love about this generation, maybe TikTok, I don't know what it is, but these kids don't mind telling you how they feel. They are more open with talking about, I need to talk, like therapy is more normal for the younger generation. And they will tell you that, I'm not in a good space, and they're more open and receptive to it than some of the older people are. And so I love that. And so, like, I know, like, older people will say, oh, these kids are too soft.
Right.
They too soft,
right.
Because they want to talk about it, because maybe they're emotional. But as a parent, you have to be willing to listen to your child, because what happens is you ignore those things now, and then when you older, you're going to wonder why your baby don't talk to you. Right. You're going to wonder why they resent you and y'all don't have a good relationship, because you bought them all of these things, but what did you do to nurture them emotionally?
That's right.
What did you do to nurture that social emotional learning? Like, how did you really invest in that? Because we'll invest in the shoes, we'll invest in all of those things. But one thing I have found, especially as a private pay therapist,
about them shoes now.
Listen,
about them shoes
as a private pay therapist, I have found that a lot of people are willing to pay out of pocket for themselves as an adult, but less likely to pay that expense for their child. They might give you one or two, but a lot of times it's like, here, fix my child. But when that conversation turns to the family unit or the parenting aspect and what I need you as the parent to come in and do, oh, no. Right, they're the problem. No, it's the environment. It's the whole picture, right? So we talking about holistic mind, body, spirit. Everything plays a part in the development of this child. And so if you're just saying, here, let my child come to therapy, but you as the parent are not willing to make any changes, then it's futile.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got it. We could talk about this all day, every day. And I got to shout out B. Flynn, because she has been an advocate, and she looks me straight in my face. Brother John, if you need me, call me. I can come up here, because I could tell she's passionate about the work, and she sounds just like you about y'all gonna get this work now. We gonna talk about it, right? We're gonna talk about it, and that's the beauty of it. And I think we need to do this more, and I think that we should be doing more. And I even thought about connecting with somebody in the community, Keedron Franklin, who has some men talk.
He does the men's circle. He does the men's circle.
That's what it is. We need to be doing more stuff like that, because if we can find a way where we can sit down and talk, no disrespect, sisters, if men can come together and talk, if we can come and watch a football game, we should be able to sit down and talk about some of the things that we go through, not knowing the man sitting right next to you might be going through the same thing.
Absolutely.
He looking for somebody too. And the same thing on the sister side. You know what I'm saying? So, ladies and gentlemen, please, 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 you got resources out here. Stop trying to hide like that didn't happen to you when you was younger, and you trying to hide it. You should try to get some help, or find somebody that you can talk to, relate to. Hit up blacktherapistmatters.com.
Absolutely. .org.
blacktherapistmatter.org. Right? Start right there. And also give them all the social medias one more time so everybody know what's up.
Absolutely. So Black Therapists Matter on Instagram as well as Facebook. We on TikTok, but we ain't really on TikTok. TikTok could be doing a lot. But and I am Pametria Dominice on my socials as well. And I am also, that is also my website for if you are looking for therapy through me, PametriaDominice.com. But if you are just wanting to explore, I'm also on the directory, so but if you are looking to explore and see what your options are in Tennessee, outside of Tennessee, your cousins, your aunties, whoever may be looking for a therapist anywhere, and they can go to blacktherapistmatter.org.
There you have it. Well, thank you so much, ma'am. I appreciate you.
Yes.
I hope to bring you back. If you got anything new popping, let us know.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But I do appreciate you creating something like this for the community, because, and I hope those that's listening don't take offense when you see the word black, right? Because it might been sometimes we don't feel comfortable talking to anybody outside of our race, right?
That's
just
the
like
thing.
on the other side, they may not want to talk to nobody that's not of their race, right? So if we can provide these resources, please take heed to it. And again, if you have a child in Memphis Shelby County schools, you can reach out to your school, your professional school counselor.
Yes.
You got to put some respect on that name.
Put some respect on
Put
it.
that respect on that name, because you can reach out to them and find out about the resources that we have, because I believe that Memphis Shelby County Schools has a mental health clinic.
They do.
That they do, and they can give you some resources and some help as well. So with that being said, we thank y'all for listening. Thank you again.
Thank you for having
Ms.
me.
Brown, for coming through and, you know, showing up, showing out on the airways. Because how many years ago you was here? Was it
It was like 2019,
2019?
the last
5
time I was
years
here.
ago. Look at that. We right back.
Yep.
All right. So much success to you, and keep us posted. All right.
Absolutely.
All right,
Thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, we're going to get back to the music. We are 88 point.